Hello, this is Warren Davis with the Village Network, TVN. I'm here to talk to you about something that my wife and I, who unfortunately is not here today, so I'm all by my lonesome. We're going to talk to you more about the VAR initiative, neighborhood revitalization. I can clearly say that if you are watching this and you are someone who cares about neighborhood revitalization, this would be a good show to record. This would be one that you'd want to take to your church leaders that are interested in revitalizing their communities. This is a show that you'd want to take to your local aldermen, your politicians, your congressmen, your state reps. Why? Because I am going to talk about the key to neighborhood revitalization as it pertains to the homestead. Now, neighborhood revitalization has something. First, let me take a step back. Again, my name is Warren Davis with the Village Network. That's thevillagenetwork.org. You can reach us at 773-717-2560, but that's thevillagenetwork.org, and please feel free to visit that website as I am talking to you. So once again, I am here to talk about neighborhood revitalization and the key as it pertains to the homestead. As you know, there are a lot of people that own homes today that are underwater, that have little to no equity, and as a result, folks are trying to figure out what do they do and how do they move forward. There have been many attempts to do neighborhood revitalization, but it very rarely, if ever, pertains to the homes. It could focus on the parks, the schools, bridges, all types of infrastructure, but very rarely do you hear of neighborhood revitalization as it pertains to the homes. So I'm going to specifically address what some would call a secret, but it's not because it's been around for decades. I'm going to address how neighborhood revitalization can be done as it pertains to the homes. And I'm going to talk about the consumer renovation programs, which again are mortgages that have been around for a very long time, and they really address the key, because what they do is they allow a person to tap into their future value. And the future value is the key towards neighborhood revitalization, because if you're going to revitalize, you're really thinking about how do you take things from where they are now to where you'd like them to be. The problem is there is no such thing as neighborhood revitalization that doesn't require money. And the question is, where does that money come from? Well, in this case, the money comes from mortgages, specific type of mortgages. Most people have heard of FHA, but they haven't heard of the FHA 203K. Most people have not heard of Fannie Mae Homestyle. Fannie Mae and FHA are both government solutions. They're government. HUD is government. And this solution has been available, but not commonly known. Why? Because those that know about it have decided they don't want to share this information. But I'm going to share it with you today. So now, let's think about this. How can you revitalize a country that is known to have infrastructure problems when the average home in the United States was built before 1969, which means that that's a very old home and is probably in need of major improvements? But again, where would that money come from? We're here in Chicago where this show is taking place, and the average home in Chicago is over 100 years old. So once again, where does that money come from? I hear of this thing called TIF dollars. It's money that comes into an area and is spread so thin in many cases that people are fighting over that money to make changes, to revitalize, to impact. But banks are private. Their money is from people who make deposits, and they have a lot of it. And they're more than happy to give out these particular mortgages that allow you to tap into your future value. And why is future value important? Because today you may not have any value. You may not have any equity at all. But if you could tap into your future value, the value that you don't have yet, and get that money today, that would be significant, wouldn't it? Well, that's what I'm here to talk about. So, neighborhood revitalization as it pertains to the homestead. That is absolutely key. Now, I'm going to pull up and just show you on this website. This is Fannie Mae, Home Style Renovation Mortgage. Another one, HUD.gov FHA, the 203K Rehabilitation Mortgage. Why am I showing you this? Because it's all about being able to renovate the home. Renovate a home you own or want to buy. Why? So you can live better at home. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about government solutions, government programs that have been around for a long time that allow you to tap into your future value today. That's significant. Well, most people know FHA as a relatively easy loan to qualify for. You only need 3.5% down if you're buying, or 3.5% equity if you're refinancing. But if you're refinancing into your future value, you only need 3.5% stake in that future number. So here's a prime example. You owe $120,000 on your home. It's worth $80,000. That's right, you're underwater. That means you owe more than it's worth. But they are flipping homes around you for $250,000. Now these homes are beautifully renovated. Everything is new. They've been revitalized. And people are buying these flipped homes around you for $250,000. Well, you're probably thinking, well, I wish I could buy one of those homes. But how do I get from under the home that I'm in? Well, if you owe $120,000 and only worth $80,000, you'd have to bring $40,000 to the table to close. Who has that? Many people today do a loan modification because they're tired of being stuck with these high interest rates. That's like a bankruptcy for the house. What if you could tap into that future value and get the money today? Well, that's what the renovation programs do. They don't look at what the property is currently worth. They only look at what it's going to be worth. So, if you're an alderman and you're listening to this right now, this is the opportunity to revitalize homesteads in your ward. If you're a congressman in the community that you serve, this is huge. The opportunity for people to get money, not based on what they're currently worth, but based on what they're going to be worth. Here's one very important factor, because I know if you're a politician, if you're an alderman, a state rep, or a congressman, you're thinking, well, here's another opportunity for people to get over their heads in debt. And that's a very good thought, very good question, but here's the deal. You can only get what you can afford. You cannot qualify for any more than you can actually afford. That in itself says everything, because if people don't go overboard, and they're able to get money that they can afford and revitalize their homes, that is neighborhood revitalization. Because here's the thing. If they're going to get a mortgage for $250,000, which means based on the future value, it's going to have to be able to appraise out for $250,000. Yes, the work may not be done for 3, 4, 5 months, but they're going to get the money today. So when the work is complete, the property is now going to be worth a minimum $250,000. Now, we're talking about a property that was only worth $80,000, and now it's going to be worth $250,000. That is a significant improvement in value. This home has been revitalized now. Stainless steel appliances, new bathroom, new kitchen, new roof, energy efficient. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for an opportunity to revitalize homesteads across this great country. Did you know that Chicago was ranked #1 in equity loss in the country in a recent report? And if you'd like to get a hold of that report, go to thevillagenetwork.org. I'm going to post a link to that report today so you can see that for yourself. #1 in equity loss in Chicago. That means more Chicagoans have lost a higher percentage of equity than any other city in the United States of America. And the solution has been around for decades, but we don't know it exists. Why? Because it hasn't been marketed to you. It hasn't been This information hasn't been given to you. If you are the mayor of Chicago, the governor of Illinois, if you are a state rep, a congressman, we all care about neighborhood revitalization. But the problem is, where's that money going to come from to revitalize homesteads? There's just way too many of them. How about we just let people know that this program exists, that it is actually available? So if I'm a homeowner, here I am watching HGTV, and I'm watching people get this money, a lot of money, to revitalize their home. I'm thinking, where does that money come from? They must be rich. What if they just simply did a renovation program, a consumer renovation program that allowed them to tap into their future value? Now, I know what you're thinking, some of you HGTV fans, you're like, well, they had a designer. I don't have a designer. Well, guess what? You can include a designer in your loan. So you're not coming out of pocket. The designer's fees are paid within your loan. Some of you might be thinking, well, if I'm going to revitalize my home, where am I going to stay while the work is being done? I can't live in a dirty, dusty environment like that. Hotels are expensive. Where would that money come from? Get this. You can put up to 6 months mortgage payments into the loan. So you don't have to worry about where you're going to live while the work is taking place. So what are we really saying here? We are saying that there's a mortgage that allows you to tap into your future value today. Now, some people are probably thinking, well, how am I going to revitalize my home? And I don't know anything about construction or renovation. How am I going to know that I'm getting a fair deal? How do I know the contract's not going to come in there and charge me a bunch of extra money that I can't even afford? That is, because like it or not, a lot of contractors don't have the best reps today. Well, first of all, the bank that's giving you this money has their own contractor to ensure that the work being done is being done correctly. Wow. We have all these fail-safes. The bank's contractor, a government program that's not using any government money, using money from the private sector banks. We have a designer even that can come into our home and design. Designers, they think of cost effectiveness. They're always looking for ways to do things, at less cost, which is good for you. So at the end of the day, what we have here is a mortgage program, Fannie Mae or HUD, both of which are government solutions, government programs that allow you to tap into your future value and do it today. So if I'm an alderman, if I'm a congressman, a state rep, any type of politician, if I'm the president of the United States, if I'm Ben Carson in charge of HUD, Ben, if you listen to this, if this message gets to you, guess what? There is a small tweak that you can make to a guideline that will change everything. Call me, Warren Davis with the Village Network. I'd be glad to share this information with you. But we do have a bill. House Bill 0367, State Rep LaShawn Ford had the foresight to see and understand what this is. And he put together a bill, House Bill 0367, the Value After Rehabilitation Act. What this says is that we will, on the state level, recognize this value. Recognize the value that even if someone refinances into one of these mortgages, then it will not just benefit just the person doing it. It will benefit all those around that person doing this, a person revitalizing their home. Because in today's world, the only person that benefits is the person doing it. I compliment State Rep LaShawn Ford for having the foresight to put together this bill. And the next step is to get this bill passed. Because once it does, then Chicago will be in a position to impact and do something that has never, well, to my knowledge, really been done before. And that is invoke these words: neighborhood revitalization, with a focus on the homestead, but using funds from the private sector banks. Let me repeat that. Neighborhood revitalization, with a focus on the homestead, but using funds from the private sector banks. Now, I'd like to show you a quote from someone that I thought was very influential in what they do. So we're looking at the president of the John D. and Catherine MacArthur Foundation, Julia Stash. Julia says that VAR is indeed intriguing, and that's the Value After Rehabilitation initiative. VAR is indeed intriguing and especially interesting because it brings into the mix resources that are now constrained in their ability to put to use for neighborhood revitalization. I'm going to repeat that while you read along with me. VAR, the Value After Rehabilitation, is indeed intriguing and especially interesting because it brings into the mix resources that are now constrained. Well, what resources is she referring to? Resources such as the government dollars. Our government dollars can only go so far. We need to find a way to partner with the private sector if we're going to get enough money to revitalize an entire nation of homes that are in need of repair. So those resources, our government tax dollars, can be put to use for other things, such as streets and schools and bridges. And their ability to put to use for neighborhood revitalization. Well, I think that speaks for itself. So if I am a politician, which means that I work for the government, but I service the people, then at my disposal are government programs that have been around for decades that provide homeowners money today based on their value tomorrow. Money today based on the value tomorrow to revitalize a home. Affordable money, because you can only get what you can afford. What are we talking about here? Could it really be that simple? Could it really be such that all we got to do is let people know that this is available? Could it really be that simple that all we have to do is show them that this mortgage exists? Could it really be that simple? Now let's think about it. What if hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people, of homeowners across the country learn of the existence of this mortgage? And they go to their banks that do these mortgages and qualify for tens, hundreds of thousands of affordable dollars to revitalize their home. Save dollars because the fail-safes are in place, such as the bank's contractors, to make sure that the work is going to be done correctly. Designers at your disposal, ASID designers that understand construction, that can come into your home and show you all the things that can be done to revitalize it. You, the homeowner, can put up to 6 months mortgage payments into the loan and stay at an Airbnb while the work is being done. And come back to a beautiful home, revitalized, energy efficient. Now, homes are probably one of the biggest consumers of resources when it comes to utilities and electricity, energy consumption. homes are probably one of the biggest consumers of energy consumption. What happens if you make millions of these homes energy efficient? Let's think about job creation. Electricians, plumbers, carpenters, all these union workers that are able to come in and do the work. Let's think about it. All the resources, all the home-centric products that have come into play to revitalize these homes. That's like economic stimulus being paid for by the private sector banks who are happy to do so. This is significant, people. I hope you're recording this. The villagenetwork.org. villagenetwork.org. Go there. Become a part of the movement to revitalize the homes in America. If you listen to this and you're doing extremely well, awesome. Here's a mortgage that can help you do that. If you're struggling just to go by, if you're just going from paycheck to paycheck, you don't have any money in the bank. You have all these challenges just to survive. You have significant energy bills that you're paying every month to cool your home or to heat your home. Your roof is leaking. You have all these problems. You have no equity in your home. You're stuck. If you wanted to move, you couldn't because you couldn't bring that kind of money to the table to close. The consumer renovation programs are an answer. They're the opportunity for you to live better at home. If you're a politician, an alderman, a state rep, a congressman, Ben Carson, Mr. Trump, government officials, you have the answer at your fingertips. All you have to do is let your constituents know that if you want to tap into the value that's around you, mainly those flipped properties we are basically everywhere now, your constituents can do that. This is money that will never run out. This is huge. And it's been around for decades. It's not like something was just found and created yesterday. HUD has been around for a long time. FHA has been around for a long time. Let me show you this again. You have to see this. Fannie Mae Homestyle Renovation Mortgage. HUD.gov. FHA 203K Rehabilitation Mortgage. Let me see what HUD says about this. It says FHA's 203K program permits home buyers and homeowners to finance. I'm reading the wrong sentence. The Section 203K program is FHA's primary program. I've got to go back to the PC here. The Section 203K program is FHA's primary program for the rehabilitation and repair of single-family properties. As such, it is an important tool for community and neighborhood revitalization, as well as expanded home ownership opportunities. Oh, that's a mouthful. FHA's primary program, the government's primary program for the rehabilitation of single-family homes, that's single families up to 4 units, is the FHA 203K. And they have a sister, a brother, Fannie Mae's program. This is significant. So go to villagenetwork.org and give us a call, send us an email, and become a part of this movement to let people know that the opportunity to revitalize their homesteads is available. It's here. So if you're a politician, the answer is at your fingertips. And guess what? It's using a program that you should be very familiar with because it's government. It's the opportunity to revitalize every homestead in America. Every person that is in a home can take advantage of this if they can qualify, and they can only get what they can afford. So please, tune in next week, same time, same place, and we'll take off where we left off today. And we'll talk about the VAR initiative, we'll talk about the bill, the makings up of the bill, and how you can have the ammunition to go to your congressman, your state rep, your politicians, and have them support this. This is Warren Davis signing off for the Village Network. Thanks for listening, and we appreciate your attention. Thank you.